this person is telling you something difficult, or this person is engaging with you because they care about you, because they want you to do better, to be better, to develop, then I think that calms us down a little bit more to be able to receive it and not put up that barrier that makes us want to fight against it and be like, no, you don't understand. This is what was going on. So if we can think about it from that standpoint of this is out of care, because otherwise, if I didn't care about you, then I would leave you there to sit in your own stuff and let harmony or like karma work for you. You don't have to say everything right. You don't have to do everything right, knowing that relationships take time and it's over the course of time, but it's really about how you're making someone feel. And so if you stay focused on the feeling and sensing part of harmony, then I think those things are going to get you through the conflict for sure.
Hello, and welcome back to Coach to Coach. This week we are talking about harmony. This strength is very important to teams, individuals with this strength. They add so much dimension to a team's ability to work through conflict, see each other's perspectives, and weigh the balance. And today I have Shauna and Shu. I gotta say that again. Today I have Shauna and Shu with me. And Shu, I'm going to come to you first. Can you tell us your top 5 strengths and where you're calling in from today, and a little bit about you and what you're up to?
Yes, thanks, Brendan, for having us. I'm calling all the way from Singapore. And so what I do is I founded my coaching practice, the Strengths Co. And I do a bit of career development. I focus more on career development, strengths-based coaching, really helping people, especially mid-senior professionals, pivot to the career of their dreams using their strengths. And I also work with teams as well, helping teams leverage each other's strengths. So more of that strengths training work. So my top 5 is harmony, responsibility, futuristic, focus, and empathy.
Thank you. So harmony, responsibility, futuristic, focus, empathy. So if you're keeping score at home, hopefully you got that 5. Thank you, Shu. Shauna.
Hi, calling in from Austin, Texas. And my top 5 are achiever, learner, harmony, significance, intellection.
And what are you up to, Shauna?
What am I up to? Oh, let's see. Well, I just wrote a book. I just published my book finally. Yes, it's done. And so it's called Resilience Tree, a model for women leaders of color and those that support them. And it's based on my dissertation research. And I heard something that you had said, Shi, and it was working with executives. And that's exactly what my research was like. Executive women who were vice presidents or deans of students reporting directly to the president at predominantly white institutions. And from a positive psychology focus of what was right with them, what was working, what was allowing them to sustain in those environments where there weren't many people who looked like them or who were in those positions. And so gaining from them that wisdom of how do you build and, you know, just kind of get it within yourself to be resilient, because there's things outside of you that you can't control, and creating a model that allows others who are aspiring to those leadership positions to be able to build that as well. So that's something I'm really excited about and that I'm up to.
And where can our listeners find your book?
Oh, well, you can find it on Amazon if you're an Amazon person, but you can also find it on my website, which is shaunasobers.com. So Shauna with the U, SHAUNAT, and then sobers, like not drunk, sober, and then an S at the end.com.
I'm so happy for you. Writing a book is a major accomplishment.
Yes.
And getting it out for the world to read and respond to is even a greater one, in my opinion. And
very vulnerable.
Yes, we're wishing you nothing but the best, and I definitely want to pick up a copy. So I'll be asking. I I have the title Resilience Tree. Is that correct?
Yes, correct.
So if I type that in Amazon, I'll be able to find it.
You're looking for this. This is what you're looking for.
Oh, well, look at you. Ooh, what great cover art.
Yes. Thank you.
Nice.
Thank
Well
you.
done. Okay, so here we are, two people with harmony in their top 5 with completely different rest. And so you might find that 6 or 10 does match you up, and that's cool if you mention it. But let's just start off with the big question. Tell us about your harmony. What is it like to have harmony top 5? I'm looking at, I have so many questions based on the other strengths around your harmony. Shu Yi with harmony empathy. That's a really common pairing. Shauna, harmony significance. I don't think I've ever seen this in the world. So I'm like, wow, this is a really cool conversation we can have. So can you give us your big picture of your harmony, and then we'll let you both dive into examining each other's profiles? And either of you could take those questions at any time. So just whenever I throw a question up, whoever grabs, go, and then the other one can go.
Shauna, do you want to go?
So what does my harmony look like? The best way that I use to describe it is collaborative. I always seem to end up being the hub, the liaison, the go-between, in an organization. So an example of that is my current position is at University of Texas at Austin. I'm the director for student athlete development. And so I then in that role have to work with all 21 Division I teams and figure out all of their cultures and get all of the 500 plus student athletes to work towards their career goals post collegiate sport. And so, I end up having to navigate a lot of different leadership styles, a lot of different environments, a lot of different org structures, a lot of different language. So I keep finding myself in roles like that. And so that's how I think my harmony really manifests itself. Another example would be certainly the resilience tree, but another thing that I've done is my TED Talk is on Latin partnered dance, and how dance is leadership and how we can gain the wisdom of leadership by learning that the elements of partner dance. So like your framing, your core, your integrity, your communication style. And so for me, that's really harmony coming through, because it's seeing the connections between things that other people might not see the connections. And so that's where it often talks about the common ground. And so seeing the common ground within departments or organizations that might not be seen as like-minded, and seeing the common ground between, two theoretical frameworks and being able to pull those together. So being the hub.
I love that. Thank you. I do recall the Latin partner dance being part of your experience. So very cool. Thank you. Shu Yi, what about you? Let's talk about harmony.
Yeah, harmony for me is an interesting one because I did the Clifton Strengths twice, 10 years apart. And even though the rest of my teams have changed in order, but harmony was the only one that stayed the same. It was always the number one for both times. And it was never my favorite theme because it always felt like it was I didn't quite understand it. I always felt it was quite a passive kind of theme until I truly understood it through a coach. And it's now one of my favorites. And I see harmony as my way of, go-to way of building relationships and how I connect with people. And especially in the work I do where I meet a lot of new people, I feel like that's how I build rapport. That is my preferred way to build rapport. So for example, if I meet someone new, I would actually try to do research on them. Right? I will look at their LinkedIn profile or see the background. And what I'm looking for is trying to look for anything that we might have a shared interest or a shared history. And then when I finally meet them in person, what I'm also looking for is to also ask questions first. And what I'm trying to, in my mind, I'm looking for okay, what's the common thread here that we can connect with? And that's my motivation, right? To meet people at a common frequency so that we can have a nice, smooth conversation. So that is really how I'm motivated by whenever I meet someone new.
So I do want to call out what you said about passivity, harmony and passivity, and a reputation it can have. And I imagine that I know people with high harmony who've said this. They said, don't mistake my kindness for weakness, is something I've heard people with high harmony say. But curious, as you thought about that, 2 times number 1. So I think we can say you're sticking with this one. Like this one is
I have
is
to
not
own it.
yeah, it's not going anywhere. Like you gotta it's I like to call it the ride or die. Like you're riding with this one until, game over. So either one of you with this, like the passivity comment there, it does come up for harmony. It does have you might call it the barrier label to this. What would you both comment there on just how you grow with that or overcome that even?
I think for me, it feels passive, but as I try to understand it, it actually is being open to hearing diverse perspectives first. It's more of like listening. For me, it's listening to what is out there. What are different ways I can approach a topic or a situation, and then I can have a more informed view to find that common ground and give a balanced perspective, a more informed perspective. And so I starting to not see that it's passive anymore. It's really quietly observing and perceiving the situation before coming in to, share an insight, and being very productive to taking it forward. What about you, Shauna?
Yeah, I can definitely see what you're talking about as well. And I noted that down when you said passive, and I was like, yes, it can definitely be perceived that way. And what I often hear people with harmony, maybe undeveloped, is, oh, I can sense when it's conflict and I want to go the other way. I want to get out of there as quickly as possible, because the moment that you're feeling that friction, you're just like, I don't want to deal with it. And I know that it's coming. Whereas after you've developed it a little bit more, you still don't like it. You still feel it and it feels icky, but now you might recognize how you can assist in the facilitation of that conversation. So I do like what you were saying there. And so I have found myself to be certified. Now I'm certified in intercultural conflict styles and intercultural development inventory. And a lot of what you're talking about really resonates with that, because it's maybe the indirect form of conflict style instead of direct, maybe the emotionally restrained rather than emotionally expressive. And so when you do the intersections of that, oftentimes maybe a harmony person, like you said, takes a moment before speaking. So it can be perceived then as, oh, you're not speaking up right away because you're, processing those things and taking in, observing maybe before you then speak, because you're looking for those points of connection. And, as I think about harmony, one word that I would use is intention. We do things with great intention and thoughtfulness. And so with that thoughtfulness comes maybe a slightly slower response time, because we have to do some of that homework that you were talking about as well. And so how we engage with it is gonna look different. And part of those things are the things that are making people think, oh, that's passive, because it's not super quick and it's not, maybe not as direct. And so one example for me would be when I want to have a meeting where I'm presenting something to a group. Before I have the meeting, I'm one of those people that I have meetings before the meeting. And so, but what I'm doing there is having iterations of what I'm going to present, because I'm going to go to each person, say, hey, this is what I'm about to present, or here, this is what I'm thinking. And then I hear their concerns and I hear their, their tweaks that they might make that they might not say in the bigger group. And then before I go to the next person, I've made those changes. And then I'm going to iterate it again. And I'm going to iterate it again. And I'm going to hear from all those people essentially getting buy-in for, hey, we're on board. I'm getting consensus that this is the direction we want to go. As long as we do this, then I'm going to be on board. So when I have that bigger meeting, everyone's like, wow, that was such a great meeting. It goes so smoothly. And I was like, yeah, you don't know how much work it took behind the scenes to get there to make that look like it goes smoothly. So it's one of those things of like, it's the performance, it's the show, but it's like, in order to do that, I had to go through a lot of rehearsals. And so I had to have all of those meetings to make sure that the product that I was truly proposing really, had all of the voices within it.
You know how we start our coaching business on a high, only to get absolutely overwhelmed by the business side of things? We're suddenly supposed to be a full-time salesperson, marketing funnel maker, email marketing expert, social media manager, customer service rep, and tech expert all in one. Yeah, overwhelm. Well, Lisa Cummings, our strengths coach friend, created a membership that gives you an insane member vault that will blow your mind. All the tools, systems, and templates to save you time and money. It's the actual assets Lisa used at Lead Through Strengths to build a successful strengths coaching business. All the assets are yours to customize and make your very own. She even gives you 2 years worth of emails you can use to serve your customers. So check it out at podcast.34strong.com, Lead Through Strengths. Again, podcast.34strong.com, Lead Through Strengths from Lisa Cummings.
Very cool. I want to comment to that because you're some words that I've heard come through: collaboration, building consensus, even coalition building. So your ability to bring us to points of agreement, unifying perspectives from differing opinions. And that seems to be the art of harmony, is coming from a place where we all come from somewhere. We all have a way of viewing the world from our frame, our filters. And harmony has this incredible ability to create tapestry it has a quality to it that does seem to calm. It brings a measure of peace to the room and to the situation. One of the first people I ever met with high harmony was a divorce mediator. And what she was sought for is her ability to help a very difficult transition in the life of anyone, probably the most difficult for some people's life, in a peaceful, resolute way. And I always marveled at that talent, at that ability to do that. And so thank you both there. I want to now give you each, as you look at each other's top fives, and so you can start to form, okay, what do you want to know about the other person's five? And Shauna, I'll start with you. And looking at Shuyi's, what are you seeing there? What are you curious about with her strengths in terms of her surrounding her harmony?
Yeah, I'm curious because you specifically are working with executives. And so I'm curious which of your other talents pairs with harmony to make it so that that's your target audience. I think that's interesting.
Oh, yeah. So I have harmony and focus and futuristic. And because harmony is really about being very practical, I see it as a very practical thing where the goal has to be so clear so that I know how to like maneuver the conversation to reach that goal. And so with focus and futuristic, it sort of like amplifies the need for me to be very clear. Every conversation I'm having with an executive, it's like, need to be very clear to shape what that goal is, what the outcome is, what the objective is. And it becomes, I guess, the conversation becomes really sharp and to the point. I'm not someone who likes to go off the rails. And if it does go off the rails, I have the tendency to like try to bring it back to where we want to go. So it really is very goal driven in the way that I work with executives. In the coaching journey that I have with them. Yeah.
Yeah, I can really hear that focus coming in, and that's so cool. I guess another question I might ask is which of your combinations with harmony gets in the way?
I think it might be harmony and empathy. Because I think when I'm hearing from you, Shauna, you seem to be okay with sort of like okay with conflict almost. Can I say that? It's always like willing to build their skills, right, for conflict resolution. And for me, with empathy, I kind of feel like I am almost conflict avoidant. And I try, and so I have that radar for sensing tension in the room, where maybe with like a group of people, I can sense there's tension. Or where I'm very sensitive to that and of the undercurrent that's coming in. And when I'm sensing that, I'm almost like automatically trying to steer it away to, hey, where's something productive that we can that we can work on here. And so I'm aware it was like trying to maneuver it out to a more positive place where we can agree on. It gets in the way because I feel like sometimes conflict is necessary, but I feel like I'm not probably equipped to sometimes be able to facilitate that because of empathy, because I'm feeling a lot of strong feelings sometimes.
Yeah.
As part of that. Yeah.
Such a good point. Maybe I've trained myself and been certified to get to the place where I can facilitate a lot of difficult conversations. And I'm thinking my next book will most likely be something along the lines of, how do you navigate difficult conversations? Because I found that there's a number of tools that I've gained that when I share it with other people, they're like, oh, that's really helpful. And so that is something else that I think Harmony, as I was doing my research to prepare for this, that I saw throughout is Harmony has this need to find something practical, to find something tangible that you're bringing forth. And so that's what I think my pairing of harmony and significance, or maybe harmony and intellection, does. Whereas, I can see how with all of those feelings, you're just like maybe paralyzed, or your coping mechanism is to, go away from it. And I think maybe significance allows me to, if I believe that having this conversation would have a greater impact for the team or for my goal, then yes, I'll go through what I need to go through to do the work of figuring out how to navigate this. However, if I feel like I'm going to go through all of this and it's still not going to be beneficial, then I probably won't. So I definitely choose specifically which ones I want to, go in on and which I leave alone. And also, I think if I've sat with it enough and processed with my intellection, then when it comes time to facilitate, I probably prepared multiple scenarios to be able to be ready for, whatever comes. And so then I think of myself as like, the negotiator in a hostage situation or something like that. But also I've worked in residence life. So I feel like that crisis response, also gives you a sense of, hey, whatever comes my way, I'm going to be able to figure out how to stay curious enough, not judge enough, or refrain from judging, because we all naturally judge, but to reserve that judgment, to be able to seek understanding rather than make a statement or a pass judgment on someone. And I think any conflict is going to be reduced a little bit more if we think about it as carefrontation. And so if you think about it as carefrontation of, this person is telling you something difficult, or this person is engaging with you because they care about you, because they want you to do better, to be better, to develop, then I think that calms us down a little bit more to be able to receive it and not put up that barrier that makes us want to fight against it and be like, no, you don't understand. This is what was going on. So if we can think about it from that standpoint of, this is out of care, because otherwise, if I didn't care about you, then I would leave you there to sit in your own stuff and let harmony or like karma work for you. And so, I think that helps. And then also thinking about Maya Angelou's words of, You don't have to say everything right. You don't have to do everything right, knowing that relationships take time and it's over the course of time, but it's really about how you're making someone feel. And so if you stay focused on the feeling and sensing part of harmony, because I've heard you say that a number of times, this is how I'm interacting with people, then I think those things are going to get you through the conflict for sure.
Thank you. It's really interesting how I think you have a very different approach to to approach conflict. And I think it's just really interesting how our different talent teams would shape the flavor of harmony. Super interesting.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I blame Brandon. He curated us.
I think as I'm listening to both of you, and such interesting variants, probably the most of any podcast we've had this season so far.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And I'm loving this. I'm here for this, right? This is
Yeah.
great. So I think we can keep going, because I want you to keep looking down into the way here, because harmony, empathy, responsibility, super common, actually, that I've seen those three together quite a bit. I mean, many, especially top 10, many times I see those. Over with achiever learner, those are super common together, Shauna, but I don't know that I've even seen the harmony intellection more than significance. And I'm really glad you walked us through that. That was amazing.
Harmony significance says, I'm willing to play a visible and vocal role in a group to reduce tensions and facilitate cooperation.
Yeah, I think that explains why you are very vocal about that. Very active. You play an active role in that.
Yes.
The conflict resolution. Very nice.
I do see myself as a facilitator more than, or I'll say it this way. I can do it better when I'm not involved. If I'm not part of the conflict, then I can come in and help facilitate, because then I can be a neutral part. If I'm part of it, then that's going to be a little bit more difficult.
Okay, I want to hear that.
Yeah.
So what? So what do you do what do you do then? Because I would love to hear from both of you, because so I grew up with one of my parents' number one, harmony, and with this parent was and is known for, to this day, passive aggressive behavior. It is known for that over and over, passive aggressive behavior. And I'm wondering if the two of you can relate to that at all, if that even plays into how your harmony shows up when you're in conflict and how you handle things.
I can relate to that. And I think that is somewhere that I don't want to go, because that is my default coping mechanism when I'm in conflict. Like I would either regress, or maybe avoid it completely. And so I tend to not let conflict get there. And so that when I was saying about having that radar to sense tension, or I know like someone's unhappy about something, I would tend to, my preference is to avoid it completely and try to avoid letting it go down that path of like conflict. So I will do and probably take actions to steer it to appease the person in a different way before it boils into that stage where I end up being passive aggressive. But yeah, I think it's really using that radar to preempt the conflict, and I think that works better for me rather than being within that conflict itself.
Passive aggressive. That is potentially how an indirect communicator is perceived by a direct person, is that it's passive aggressive. So not saying that it's wrong. It just is, that's the lens that you might be using. So what I would say there is, trying to think through my interactions with family and friends. I can see that happening, and especially because of the intellection, because I'm going to think through things a lot. I'm going to replay whatever conversation we've had. I'm going to keep replaying it. So that's also interesting, thinking about, I tend to use models, theories, examples like movies or TV shows. And so that usually allows me a voice where I might not have one. So if I see something, a dynamic in a movie or even a commercial, something, then I might give that snippet. And so that might be passive aggressive, right? I will text that person that thing or send them that meme or whatever the case may be to kind of be in place of me speaking to say, hey, this is an example of what I was talking about. Like maybe if you hear it from someone else rather than me, then that would, like go over better. And so, yes, I can see how that might be seen as like, that's passive aggressive. Like, why don't you just like tell me right out? And also it's like, that is a form of communicating that if the person who's perceiving it that way can pause for a moment and appreciate that, that's how I communicate. Love languages or languages of apology now, the new book out. So that's my thing, is learning the different types of approaches and making sure that people are aware of those, because often they aren't, and then teaching that so that that can help us understand and appreciate. So I often will talk about both and thinking. It doesn't have to be either or. Both things that we're saying can be equally existing, even if they, potentially butt heads, or impact versus intent kind of moment where it's like, this was my intention, and I know that you all talked about that too in your communication episode. And so it's like, this might be in my intention, but that was, and that was also the impact that happened. And so if we're recognizing those things, I would add to that too, the golden rule. So do you all know or remember what the golden rule is? Brandon does. What's the golden rule?
Do unto others as you would have them do unto you.
Yes. What's the platinum rule?
Do unto others as they need it done for them.
And the only way to get there is to ask them.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so because it's like, how would I know how they would want this done? Or how would I know how they would want this communicated? And it's like, well, you have to be in conversation with them. You have to seek understanding. You have to, not pass judgment before you engage.
Do you ever feel lonely as a coach or solopreneur? What if you had a place where you could surround yourself with like-minded coaches who truly get you, where learning, sharing, and growing together is the norm? Connect, Learn, and Share, started by Charlotte Blair, is a vibrant community of Clifton Strengths coaches from around the world. Hosted on the Circle platform, it's a place where you'll find people, processes, and events to help you grow your business, enhance your coaching and facilitation skills, and thrive in a safe, supportive, and collaborative environment. Connect with coaches from diverse backgrounds and experiences. Learn through a calendar of recorded events across time zones, and share your knowledge in a community built on an abundance mindset rooted in strengths. Visit podcast.34strong.com to learn more. Again, podcast.34strong.com to learn more about the Connect, Learn, and Share community.
Very good. Thank you. As you both think about harmony and why this strength is so valuable on teams and within organizations. So I want you to be the mouthpiece of all of your harmony friends out there in the world that share this strength, and tell us all why this strength is so necessary, so vital for a healthy, strong team culture, organizational culture, why we want to be seeking this one out.
I do believe that harmony brings the gift of objectivity and perspective, and I think to what Shauna said earlier in the episode is giving that connections to help people see what they don't see. The connections to see what. Sorry, can I say that again? To help people see the connections that may not be very apparent, because those are hidden perspective that is like in the background. And I find that harmony plays that role to draw that perspectives out from people and invite the different voices in the group to surface those insights. And then harmony plays that role again, right? As like we said, Shauna, as the hub to synthesize what we have heard through those different opinions, and then provide a perspective that maybe others may not have considered before. So I do think, yeah, in summary, I think harmony brings perspective, balanced perspective.
Yes, I love it. As you're describing that, I was thinking about the iceberg imagery, right? A lot of times we stay really surface in the what we can see, and knowing that underneath is so much more, and it's so much of our culture, of how we've been socialized, of what we've been taught is good about ourselves or about the way we interact and engage with other people. And so I would say harmony is allowing us to go deep with people and to help people see those connections that they might have that's deeper than, what we're showing in the surface. So I think of the Johari window, right? It's like, this is what's public. This is what I'm choosing to show. This is what's private. But then we have this section of the unknown, which is the opportunity for growth and development. And the harmony is probably going to be mining for that gold to bring that out in us and to expose it or encourage us to share that with others, so that that can be a deeper, point of connection between people. So I definitely think of synergy with harmony. I definitely think of appreciation of one another and what we're bringing. So that's why I think, strengths is a great tool to use with teams around, finding that harmony of, hey, you all have this connecting talent, and also that talent is going to look very different in each of you. And so that's just like a beautiful point of connection. So there's opportunities for shared goals or common goals that can come from someone on your team with harmony that's going to take the time to get to know each individual or each team, as it were, and how they can each contribute to a bigger goal that's going on.
And as I'm hearing that, I think I want to bring out the other point, which is alignment, right? It's really that alignment where there's diversity in the team, where people are so, bring different strengths to the table, and harmony sort of like brings everybody together, and it creates that shared synergy and that collaborative space to be really productive to what's the shared goal of that organization and that team. So yeah, I loved how harmony brings alignment. I think that's the true value it brings to the team.
Thank you both. So alignment, objectivity, perspective, the Johari window perspective of going deep, sharing with others, synergy. So team, as you listen today to our experts on the strength of harmony, that they've given us quite a bit to consider. And if you have found rich value from this episode, please do share this. This is a strength that I think has far-reaching impact, and I think with understanding of what it brings for itself. I wonder if you two would agree that sometimes harmony may not always advocate for itself as much as maybe it could. Would that be potentially fair on that one?
Yes. And I will just say this, because I recently learned this about my harmony. I've been digging into it a little bit more, is where it trips me up is when I want harmony so much amongst the group or the team or the relationship that I will, put down or diminish what I need or want for the good of the group. And if I do that enough, then I'm trying to figure out, why don't I feel good about this? And I'm not even realizing, someone had to point it out to me. They're like, you're so kind, you're so thoughtful, you're so caring about what other people are feeling and sensing and perceiving, that now you've put yourself in a place where you might be having conflict within yourself because of the harmony that you've created with the group. And so that was a really fascinating, uncovering of, okay, now I have to figure out which of my talents I can use to kind of manage that, need for everyone feeling good about it. Maybe it's appropriate in a certain situation that they don't feel good about it.
Yeah. For me, I think with my blend of talents with focus, where it's very goal driven, I almost don't see the need to advocate for myself. It's almost like I'm advocating for the goal itself rather than for me. And so it always feels like it's something outside of me and the goal is driving everything in that sense. Every conversation, every action I take. So I find it very fascinating how Shauna and I are like quite different in the way our motivations are because of our blend of strengths.
Well, I want to thank you both again for coming on and sharing your expertise with us. Shu Yi, where can people find you?
They can find me on LinkedIn. Just find my name, Shu Yi Go, or you can go to my website, thestrengthsco.com.
Awesome. Thank you. And how about you, Shauna?
LinkedIn as well, Shauna T. Sobers, my website, Shauna T. Sobers, or really any of the social media at Shauna T. Sobers. So pretty easy to find. And I look forward to communicating with any coaches or certainly strengths enthusiasts. I enjoy that process. Obviously, my learner enjoys someone who's new to strengths and going from not knowing or understanding to being able to kind of articulate it for themselves how they are happy with their talents.
And it bears repeating, Resilience Tree. Get your copy on Amazon, Resilience Tree. Thank you both again, listeners. We're looking forward to see you next time. This was a rich conversation on harmony. Look forward to the next strength coming your way each week. And we will see you next time on Coach to Coach. Thank you.
That's a wrap on this episode of Coach to Coach. If you've enjoyed today's conversation, be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. And if you're a strengths coach looking to dive deeper, join the Coach Strong community. It's where coaches like you come together to share insights, support one another, and discover partnership opportunities. Be part of the conversations that are elevating our industry. Email community@34strong.com to join today. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next week on Coach to Coach. Stay strong.